Diverge. The northbound tri-state delays are from Plainfield Road to 47th and from the Reagan tollway to past the Eisenhower. The other tollways for now have only mild congestion. Northwest Indiana looks good. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds this morning, sun later on today, high 39. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, low 26. For tomorrow, partly sunny with a high 42. Sunday and Monday, mostly cloudy, the high Sunday 46. Monday's high at 48. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
In Chicago, 30 degrees. At O'Hare, 33 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 7:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Check out the pre-Black Friday event this weekend at Shoot Point Blank. Take advantage of early doorbuster savings on firearms, ammo, and more. Plus, all Smith & Wesson firearms will be on sale during this event. Visit your Shoot Point Blank store for details.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
It's time for the Impeachment Theater. It's time for the Impeachment Theater. Impeachment Theater. Impeachment Theater with Shifty Shift.
Yeah, they've concluded their case in chief, so let's call the question already and move this thing along. Another bombshell.
Explosive, game-changing
bombshell
day.
testimony yesterday with Miss Fiona Hill, or Lieutenant Colonel Fiona Hill. I can't remember all the titles. This is to sort of summarize the week that was, in case you were not able to watch all of the witness testimony.
All 12 witnesses? Yeah.
Here's sort of a summation of the sum and substance of it.
Breaking news.
A bombshell.
Today is a turning point. Today was historically bad for President Trump.
Today was a turning point.
A turning point.
We're at a turning point here.
The beginning of the end for the Trump presidency.
We have another bombshell.
Mike Pence might have to assume the office of the presidency.
Rumblings of the word impeachment.
Breaking news.
Another bombshell out of the White House.
I believe this is the beginning of the end.
I do too.
It's really the beginning of the end.
He may be feeling the walls closing in on him.
All the walls closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him.
Breaking news, a new bombshell.
One astrologer says this means the beginning of the end.
Well, I mean, if the astrologers are saying it, then I'm
Maria Williams
fairly convinced. They presented evidence. I don't know what the evidence was exactly. I just know that they presented evidence. All the evidence there, all the smoking guns have been logged and accounted for, and just one bombshell after another over the last 4 days. And so let's just wrap it up and get Mike Pence ready to take the oath of office.
Yeah.
I think that's the takeaway, but for help on that, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Roger Kimball, editor of the new Criterion. Roger, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hello, Roger.
Impeachment Friday.
Yes.
No, it was a pathetic show. I couldn't quite figure out why the Democrats were doing this until I realized that Adam Schiff, for the first time in his life, is really center stage. And I think he is so delighted with this newfound celebrity that he can't quite give it up. Newfound celebrity, I understand that his fundraising is going very well. He's invited to all the cool parties.
All right.
So I think he's been sort of addicted to that aspect of the circus.
And he's being parodied on Saturday Night Live, too.
Yes, right. The true sign of election, though, and that one has arrived. Now, I think this circus is striking its tents. I love that clip you played of it's a bombshell, a turning point, the beginning of the end. And of course, that I believe that what you played comes from a couple of years ago, but they just play it over and over and over again. But there were no bombshells. I mean, basically. These star witnesses said no, there was no quid pro quo, just as we knew there wasn't. We've seen the transcript. Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, who heard the call, said that yes, the transcript is accurate. So it's as Senator Cruz might put it, it's a very large nothing burger.
Well,
but it has distracted people from the real question, which is, what was this call to the Ukrainian president about? It was about Ukrainian meddling in the 2016 election. Not I'm not talking about they didn't hack the server, but what they did do is they tried to dirty up the Trump campaign and did so successfully. It was they who, with the document about Paul Manafort, managed to get him cashiered from the campaign. Whether that document is fabricated or not is a question that people will want to ask, but it successfully destroyed his career and removed him from the Trump campaign.
Well, that way, that's a right-wing conspiracy theory that Ukraine interfered with the 2016 election. That's a bunch of nonsense. And to the extent that, yes, they produced the dark ledger, black ledger on Manafort, that was an act of patriotism. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, right. Yes, dissent is the highest form of patriotism.
Congressman William Hurd yesterday said, pretty much that he's going to vote no on impeachment. So what does it say that the Democrats can't get one Republican to move over?
Well, this is the serious aspect of this otherwise farcical spectacle. Impeachment. The impeachment of a president or other officer of the government is a very serious thing. It's the most serious. This is a mechanism, a tool that the founders insinuated into the Constitution for the most heinous of misbehavior, treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. This is, abuse of power on a massive scale. There's a reason that it has been so infrequently employed. This is the third impeachment, right? And Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton. President Nixon was not impeached. He would have been, but he was not impeached. And so this is the third effort in the whole history of our republic. For what? For a phone call to the Ukrainian president? It may be that Donald Trump has a style of governing that deep state actors don't like, but is that an impeachable offense? When you come right down to it, the real tort of Donald Trump was being elected without the permission of the deep state. That is his unforgivable sin, and that is why the Democrats are trying to go after him. But what's dangerous about this is that having weaponized impeachment, the Democrats have opened the way to using this whenever, we don't like the president. Therefore, we're going to impeach him. That way lies madness. What happens the next time that the Republicans are in charge of the House and there happens to be a Democratic president they don't like? Will they go through this charade? Well, the Republicans being the Republicans, they probably won't. But it's a very dangerous precedent that the Democrats have initiated here. Fortunately, it's not going to go anywhere. This will be forgotten. Well, it won't be forgotten exactly, but it's not going anywhere. By the new year, people will be on to something else. But it is a good illustration of the fact that the Democrats care only about their position, their power, not about the good of the country. It's shocking, really.
Well, it's interesting too, because if they're concerned solely about political power, you'd think they'd be more judicious in pursuing it. A new polling out yesterday from Emerson College finds 45% opposed to impeachment, 43% who support it. That's a 6-point swing against the Democrats from October. More importantly, among independents, 49% of self-identified independents oppose, compared to only 34% who support. In another survey in Wisconsin by Marquette University, finds for the 40% think the president should be impeached, 53% who do not, and that he's seen his numbers improve in Wisconsin too as these hearings have proceeded forward through this week. So in terms of thinking about swing states and swing voters, it doesn't seem like Democrats have moved the numbers in their favor. No,
they really haven't. So it was a miscalculation on their part. But it's a serious thing we're witnessing here. This unfolding narrative just shows how committed they are to undoing the results of the 2016 election. This is really kind of just a second pathetic part of their revenge fantasy for Donald Trump's having been elected. The Russia collusion fantasy didn't work, so now they're trying what is essentially the same show with different terminology. This isn't going to work either. But it's interesting to ask oneself, who is in charge? Who governs us? Is it our duly elected president, or is it these deep state actors? Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, what was his complaint? So, the president was he was suggesting policies that were in contravention of the settled consensus policy that we were pursuing. That was his complaint. In other words, he implied that making U.S. foreign policy was up to him, but it's not.
One of the other things, though, just in terms of the takeaways, to take a step back and look at the larger picture beyond the back and forth with each utterance from each witness, is, and you're sort of getting to this idea that you can have the position that Trump was inartful on that July 25th call. That he shouldn't have brought up Biden or Burisma. You can have that position. You can have the position.
Do me a favor.
You can have that position that he shouldn't have opened this other channel of intervention with Rudy Giuliani. Involving Rudy Giuliani was a bad judgment call. You can have those positions and also say, but those do not rise to the level of an impeachable offense. And it seems to me that we're conflating, if you don't like anything he did, or if you find anything he did objectionable, that's synonymous with impeaching and removing him from office.
Yes, no, that's absolutely correct. Donald Trump has a style of governance that is unusual. Let's face it. What other president would take time off for a photo op with Kim Jong-un? Donald Trump did that because his idea is that his own negotiating skills are so potent that he might be able to make a positive difference in our relations with North Korea. Ditto his meeting with President Putin. Russia is certainly an adversary of the United States. And President Putin is a thug. No question about that. Many presidents would not deign to meet with him for fear of, giving him the street cred that the U.S. Meeting with the U.S. president confers on one. But that's his style. That is not an impeachable offense. It's the objection to Donald Trump, to a very large extent, is aesthetic. People don't like his style of governance, but it's been obvious what his style is from the very beginning, and 63 million people voted for him. He won. If you don't like it, 2020 is coming up. And note, by the way, that Speaker Pelosi said this was too important to be left to the electorate. She said we have to impeach him. We don't want to have it. We shouldn't let this go to an election. But that's a very dangerous statement that she made.
Yeah, well, they're going to lose in 2020. But here's the thing. You talked about a ratings flop. A bigger ratings flop was a Democratic debate, 6.5 million viewers, and the first debate, 18 million viewers. Do you think they have post-impeachment hearing fatigue, or they just aren't impressed with any of the candidates?
Well, I almost feel sorry for them with the emphasis on the adverb, I guess. But it's a pathetic crew. Joe Biden, if somebody was saying to me, it's like, watching Joe Biden, it's like watching somebody go out at night in the woods with a flashlight with two dying batteries. The man is pathetic. And he's the lead. He's the guy who's supposed to be, he's the reasonable one. I actually believe that the eventual nominee won't be any of those people. I don't know who it will be, but I don't think it will be any of them. But we'll see. It's it's a pathetic show, and the Democrat. I'm a Republican, but a two-party system, a vibrant two-party system, is a good thing for the country. Where are the Democrats who can actually stand up and say, I'm a patriotic American. I want America to do well in the world. I am for prosperity. I am for putting people to work. all of the things that a Scoop Jackson Democrat, for example, would have said. I don't see anyone on the Democratic side of the aisle standing up and saying, "I'm a proud American. I'm a patriot. I think America's a great country." That they've given up on that. But to give up on that is to give up on the American people, and is to give up on your chances of being elected as well. Amy, I think you're absolutely right.
Well,
whoever it is not going to win.
Well, win or lose, Joe Biden is going to keep punching against domestic violence.
Yes.
Roger Kimball, editor of New Criterion. Roger, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Bye.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Nothing speaks louder about an auto dealer than a happy customer. And at Joe Cotton Ford, they have many.
Typically, the car buying process, I think a lot of people would agree that it's not a pleasant experience. You look forward to buying a car, but the actual having to negotiate and purchase a car can sometimes be an ugly thing. And the one thing that I've always had here in 19 years, every time we purchased a car, it's been a pleasant experience.
Another reason why folks keep coming back to Joe Cotton Ford. Stop in for Black Friday deals at Joe Cotton Ford. Get an F-150, the best-selling truck for 42 straight years. Joe Cotton Ford has 0% financing for 72 months on F-150. Built Ford proud, built Ford tough. All incentives applied. Stock number T9611. No hype and no pressure. It's why generations of customers keep coming back for a truly different vehicle buying experience. Stop in for Black Friday deals, Joe Cotton Ford, Gary and North Avenue and Carroll Stream, or at joecottonford.com. joecottonford.com.
Hey, believe it or not, the holidays are here, and maybe you're not feeling the energy you used to feel. Maybe you're having trouble sleeping, or maybe you have seasonal allergies. Whatever it is, we do know that you're not getting enough fruits and veggies in your diet. So it's time to get healthy before the holiday season starts. Do what I've been doing, and that's take Balance of Nature.